time around? What are they even doing? We are going to be looking at that with our panelists who are in the house this evening. We also, if time permits, are going to be doing a comparative analysis of Anglophone political elites of the 60s and 90s with what we have today as politicians. We have persons like Edith Kawala, John Frunzi, we have Joshua Osi, we have the likes of Njang Tabe Dennis, Prince Ekoso, and a host of others. Can we? Okay, Barrister Ashu Emmanuel. We have the likes of Gerard Angala and other politicians. Can we today say that these guys can be compared with the Fonchas, the Munas, and the Mbiles, the Endelis? What is the difference? We're going to be looking at that from different perspectives. But we are discussing this with panelists who are in the house. Dr. Ako John Ako is a lecturer with some universities in Cameroon. In Douala he lectures, as well as in Yaoundé he's lecturing in some schools. But very key member of Cameroon Civil Society. Good evening, welcome.
Yeah, Mr. Leonard, it's a pleasure once more again. We are talking Cameroon, issues which most often many have thought that Cameroon was created with the intention of uniting all the forces of the nation. But today, 70 years, close to 70 years after independence, it is ready just a mere piece of itself. Cameroonians, many, always thinking that maybe the nation belongs to others and that others cannot hold political power. Some people are still thinking that they were grown or born within the family of power. Others are still thinking that such powers were not the powers of the people, but powers which were acquired in other occultic means and many other antisocial methods. Today, Cameroonians, especially the youths, are sad in the sense that when they were in school, they were told that the youths shall be the leaders of tomorrow, but they have grown up to realize that more than 4 or 5 decades, the same people that were there on the independence are the same people holding the same political power in the same environment. We can see it in the tripartite, the tried powers of the state, the National Assembly, the Senate, and the presidency. Many still think that this group of persons were all classmates and equally work colleagues. What has become of the day today? Many of those youths which were born in the 1950s or maybe talk less of 1970 are still thinking that they will never gain such power. Can elections really guarantee political movement in Africa, or is just a test to prove the international community that such a nation is democratic? Elections in Cameroon have been perturbed. From the time of the multi-party system in 1990, President Paul Biya took upon himself to declare the liberty laws. Has that changed any stake? Because the CNU was overwolfed and clotted with the CPDM. Has that changed 60 years after?
Okay, as that change, we're going to be looking at that in the course of the program. We also are in the company of EPUPU, OBOSSO. He's Prince OBOSSO EPUPU, who is the Secretary General, National Secretary General of the Frankist movement. We are glad to have you with us once again.
Thank you very much, Leo. I use this opportunity to salute my fellow panelists and also the televiewers. We are here to educate Cameroonians, most especially the youths. You know, the President of the Republic, His Excellency President Paul Biya, addressed the youths on the 11th of February 2021. He said, generational transition is now. So it is time for the youths to wake up, take courage, and get into political leadership. So if we are here, it is because we think that this is an opportunity for us to come and clarify the youths on the role they have to play. And there is a youth movement which is in place, which is championing a youth candidate for the office of the president called the Frankist movement. So I want to believe that this program is going to really enlighten the youths and give them a roadmap on how we can go forward to take that power. Because I don't think it's time to continue with the ABC model of accusing, blaming, and complaining. Now it's time to take action.
Now it's time to take action. Also with us on today's edition of the program is PADDY ASANGA, will be coming in live from Hamburg, Germany. Good evening, Paddy. We're glad to have you.
Yes, Mr. Leo, good evening. And I was very, very interested in your topic for today. And when you invited me to come and shed some light on this program, I thought it wise to come and edify our people. And I'm happy that I have my good friend, Dr. Ako John Ako, Senior Barrister Ashu, and EPUPU, who says he is of a Frankist movement. And I don't know if the Frankist movement is a political party that is registered anywhere. And I don't know who mandated them to go around and be doing what we call polls in Western world. So in the course of our debate, we'll talk about opposition parties and how we want to take power, and not about movements, because when we talk about movements, we have a proliferation of movements everywhere, and in every village you have movements, just like we have 300 and how many parties in Cameroon, but all of them are just in the box. So if they want to conduct their polls and to know if Cameroon is going to be a monarchy or Cameroonian can stand a monarchy, they should go ahead and conduct those polls and not come and tell us that there is something that they call Frankist movement, which is a youth movement and all that stuff. I don't see anything in the Cameroon law that tells us that somebody, the leader of a movement, or somebody who nobody knows his voice, nobody knows if he's married or not, nobody has ever seen him anywhere in any social action, will come and say he has created a movement that will lead the youth and give power to a youth. No, it doesn't work that way. So if they have a secret agenda, they should come and tell us about that secret agenda, and Cameroonians will judge for themselves. So I'm very happy to be part of this conversation, and I think I have planted the decoration in my own Abakwa boy way, so that we move forward and stop following all these distractions, Frankist left, center, and all that nonsense. No, we don't. We'll never accept that. They say le Cameroun, c'est le Cameroun, but le Cameroun, ce n'est pas le Gabon, le Cameroun, ce n'est pas le Tchad, et le Cameroun, ce n'est pas le pays de Sassou Nguesso. Thank you.
Yeah, but everybody has the right to their opinion now of Paddy ASANGA. Let everybody express themselves. Please, I see how you are starting the program, but I know, please, OBOSSO is up to the task. I start with you, Dr. Ako John Ako. We are talking about presidential elections. When you look through the political prism, opposition or political prism, do you see signs of preparations for 2025 so far?
It's really very, very difficult to say, but honestly too, if you look at it, I mean, in a more crusading manner, I look at the SDF, we look at what the MRC has been doing, you realize that they are preparing presidential elections by first of all fixing the various grassroots bureaus or offices, and we have been saying that at the same time, the various leaders have been using that as a political meeting. Remember the MRC party Congress, or what I call meeting in Yaoundé at around the start Mendong. We see the movement, and we are just talking of just some few days ago, the SDF equally gathered in Lum, and again it was used as a political meeting. To what extent this is going to change, especially when we look at it, Paddy said there are about 350 what we call political parties are not political parties, but I've said lobbying groups. Lobbying groups for many are there for sale of identity. We should not be thinking that in Cameroon we have up to 2 political parties. Yes, some time ago, what happened? We know the fever and the generations, the effervescence that the 1992 presidential election generated, and everybody has lived to have that in its brain as a hallmark of the change in political landscape in Cameroon. But after 1992, where has the opposition been participating or conducting presidential election? You imagine what happened in 2018. A lot of cry for Cameroonians, can you form a coalition? And you can just witness what happened on the verge of the election when the party of Barrister Keremuna and MRC came together just 48 hours to elections. How could such a movement, how could such a brain, how could such an idea come 48 hours to a crucial elections which are made to take the highest office of the state people prepare it within 48 hours. When you see that, it is just but normal that really the political opponents or the actors in the opposition are not serious. When you look at it again, you realize that the opposition parties in Cameroon, since they have first the stomach problem to feed themselves, it means they equally go into negotiation with Yaoundé to create an identity. So somewhere, some parties, their leaders were imposed from Yaoundé, and others were said not to be the leaders of such a political party. Of recent, you can equally imagine that many will think that having a majority as militants means you are the choice of the people. And so nobody would like a coalition where he's going to be a hand clapper or he's going to sit down. We have equally seen opposition leaders these days, just on the eve of election, or 2 years, they will say 2 years is too far, but some of us were calling it the eve of election. You start castigating and punishing or sanctioning some key actors within the same party. And some of us ask the question, if really this is opposition. When you find them again on many other political platforms, you realize that today the opposition opposes himself than it does with the ruling party. If we are here, I will find more pleasure in talking how opposition should come to power. I don't have pleasure or quarreling why the particular opposition party is not behaving well. If I need to get into opposition now, what they should think and reflect is how do we form a common strength. When you imagine what is going on in Senegal with a very young man as small as he is, the impact, preparing for elections next year, and you see the fever already one nation is gaining for such a candidate, it tells you that something is lacking in Cameroon. What is lacking in Cameroon? One is egoism. Egoism in that many people still think that the political atmosphere in Cameroon is one where a single person can beat the drum and dances at the same time. It has never been so. In no occasion can the drummer be the dancer. Some people need to drum and you need to dance. And that is why if opposition need to succeed, we are saying that the hallmark remains a national coalition. And at that level, we think they may play a role. But now, some people may say, and maybe pessimistic, but to be really be in that nature, I have not seen any preparation for 2025. Many have used it. Journalists, civil society actors, yes, going around registering voters, who even tells you that the people who registered will vote for you. So it is just a movement to increase the electoral registration and maybe encourage the international community too, that there have been an increase, and so we have the right to sponsor such election. Such machinery will be exploited by the ruling party if the opposition itself does not cement the relationship with the new electors. It becomes very, very difficult to see a country 60 years after independence, people still say, like my brother on the opposite end, that the father shall give the throne to the son. Ask the question, if these are the problems Cameroon need now, we need a leader that answers the worries of Cameroonians: unemployment, food scarcity, and why not infrastructural development in all its domains. Water, 60 years after in Cameroon, is a problem. Electricity, still a very big problem. What has become? These are what I call the armpits of any opposition that need to rule. Tell Cameroonians how you generate 2,000 or 200,000 jobs a month. And this is the happiest moment that we need. We are still, people have manifestos, the manifestos are in their pockets. Can we have the program of who can really lead Cameroon through a coalition, a national coalition of oppositions?
Okay. EPUPU, Prince EPUPU, do you have the feeling that there are preparations already underway for 2025 presidential elections?
Yeah, thank you once more, Leo. I want to reiterate here that there is no preparations by the opposition. And that is what the Frankist movement has come to correct. The Frankist movement has come to educate the opposition on how to go about taking power in a country like Cameroon. We have come to show them how you mobilize people, ensure that these people have voters' card, persuade these people to get into the ballot box and cast their vote, push these people to stand and control their votes till they have the results. That is what we, the Frankist movement, have come to do. And we have been existing since 2020, preparing for the presidential elections is 3 years counting. I want to say it clear that the leaders of the opposition parties don't have intention to be president. They don't have intentions to be president in this country. Cameroonians should get that clear. Because when you look at leaders, political leaders of the opposition, who wants to be president of a nation, they want to take power, you must be able to see concrete political actions carried out in the field. The opposition to me is just a one-man show, showmanship of some individuals who wait when it is 2025, 6 months to elections, because they have a political party, they come in that they want to be president, they make their show, turn around the country, and so that at the end of the day, they will have some followers, and you know, they might be considered as a major political actor and be brought into government for them to play a role. That is simply what the opposition leaders are trying to do. They don't have intentions to take power. They don't even have the capacity. Because when you look at MSA, Ndoki is seriously fighting Kamto. Leadership tussle in the MSA. When you look at SDF, Ninja Frundi is being taken to court by his own militants. Are those parties that are preparing to take power in the nation? Not at all. Not at all.
Okay. I'll move over to you, PADDY ASANGA. You are a key militant of the Social Democratic Front. I don't know whether you are going to be talking from across the prism. Are there some active steps your party and other opposition parties are taking to tell Cameroonians that you are getting ready for 2025?
Yes, Mr. Leo, I would answer your question from the premise of the person who just spoke before me, and I took some notes. And he said they are out to take power, mobilize voters, control their votes, and that the opposition is not out to take power. So the question that runs in my mind, and which is a very big question, is not a question to you as a journalist, but it's a question that I got from many people when I shared the idea that I was going to confront somebody like EPUPU, Prince EPUPU, on your platform. And is Frankist movement a political party that is registered in Cameroon and want to take power? Where is Frank Biya, and where is the declaration of their movement and the intentions of their movement? Or do we just have impostors? Because we know situations in other African countries where we have seen children, biological children of presidents who have come to power. We want to talk about the case of Chad. He was at the intelligence service. Whether we like it or not, he was at the scene. Well, let's go to Sasungeso. The child was also there, and the child has been seen on the field getting close to other people, and he also has a football club. We want to talk about Gabon. Ali Bongo, before coming to power or succeeding his father, had a lot to their people. So is Frank Biya not just an impostor that you people are using for us to deter Cameroonians and let them understand what are the mechanisms that you put in place? Because what you have said today is an attack on the opposition party, and you have made it clear that opposition party cannot take power. Only Frank Biya, whom you represent his movement, you call it Frankist, would be able to take power because he has the genes of somebody who is at the presidency. So we have a perpetration of the system when people, Cameroonians, think the way you are thinking, Prince EPUPU. Now, the question that I want to ask you is this: what are the constitutional and legal mechanisms for your movement to come and topple the opposition that you are castigating? The opposition is not a political party, but what is your intentions and what are the mechanisms that you want to sell to Cameroonians, Anglophones like Francophones, that Mr. Frank Biya, you say you are a representative of a Frankist movement, will come to power. We want to know that because you have spent most of your time here castigating the opposition, forgetting that all the advances that the opposition has, that Cameroon has made so far, peacefully, is thanks to the SDF and some other political parties that were allies of the SDF. These are questions that have been tarotting my personal mind since you people came out with this thing that you call a Frankist movement, and somebody whom we don't know if he has a wife. We only hear rumors, scandals upon scandals. I don't want it to be personal. I will not get into the details of all that stuff, but you people are posturing, and we bring him on the debate, and I will challenge Frank Biya. If he says he's a presidential candidate, PADDY ASANGA will be his challenger, and the SDF will accredit me for that. So you don't take Cameroonians for a job, please. I'm done.
No, PADDY ASANGA, you did not answer my question, and that's the problem. You should have to use one answer, 1 minute to answer him. You spent time talking about the Frankist movement. I asked a question you did not answer.
But Leo, listen. We are renewing our basic organs. Any serious political party is on the field. And you people are saying that. Do I have to answer a question that has been answered by another serious panelist? Do I do that?
The essence of the program is to educate the masses. I, as a journalist, may know what you are doing, but I'm asking you so that you tell the audience
okay,
of
Mr. Let me make it very clear to you. All the advances that Cameroonians have today, it's thanks to the collaboration and other political parties that have come in. They have contributed a lot. You want to talk about moving from territorial administration to Onel 1, Onel 2, Elekam 1, Elekam 2, and what we have today. You want to talk about multipartism. You want to talk about the elections that were stolen by Frank Biya's father in 1990. And we are still on the ground, 33 years fighting. And we have said that 33 years in the life of a nation is nothing if we are copying from the hyper-centralized system that was legated to us by the French. Okay. When you talk about these people, they will quote you France, they will quote you England, they will quote you Britain, but they forget to know that Western democracies are 500 years old. So we have decided that we are not going to sacrifice our people's life just to please France and inherit a system that doesn't suit the configuration of our Africanism. And that is the message that I think most serious political parties are planting on the ground. So we are on the ground. Every other serious political parties are on the ground. Our convention is coming up, and I will invite all the panelists here personally, in my own name, PADDY ASANGA, to come to our convention and see how democracy works. If we have to do some advances, we have to do some amendment, let them send us recommendations and we'll take them into consideration. So I will not accept somebody, an impostor, to come and sit here and tell me about Frankist movement. Sorry, those are my words and I'm entitled to them. If anybody thinks that PADDY ASANGA has no right to say that, or he's not an impostor, let him come and show me the constitution of his own political party. Thank you, Mr. Liu.
Yeah, but PADDY ASANGA, I'm the one who has invited everybody here now. So just allow.
I am inviting them to our convention. I am inviting them to our
convention. That is good. That is the democracy we're talking about.
The truth.
Yes.
Because I'm very angry. Leo, we have been castigated.
PADDY,
we have been attacked.
PADDY.
Everybody here has been attacked. And they come out with something. Come out with something that nobody's pulling it from the drawer, which I call the pools. I will not let it happen. Me, I'm a fighter. And I'm coming home to repeat the same rhetoric. Let come rain, come thunder. Let it happen.
PADDY, you've said it now. You have said it. But allow others also say what they think. They should express their minds. You talked about stolen elections. I don't know. Prime actually takes exception to describing the father of somebody as having stolen elections. So, but let us respect the views of everybody. You had something to say in response to what PADDY just said.
Yes, PADDY ASANGA, Bakwa Boy, I'm going to respond to you and with all power. Okay? We no fear. What you should understand is that the Frankist movement is bigger than a political party. A movement is bigger than a political party. A movement is a combination of so many political parties who come together, believe in an ideology, and move on with the implementation of that ideology. So within the Frankist movement, we have people from all political backgrounds, civil society, the church, who are within the Frankist movement.
Name them apart from the CPD.
Paddy, let him land. You're going to come in.
Allow me land, Paddy. I'm going to respond to you with no fear. I'm Prince OBOSSO EPUPU. I'm Ngolo, a descendant of warriors. I fear no war. I'm going to respond to you, and I will invite you for a fast debate, me and you, and let's talk. We can program that with you if you like. So
yes,
what?
I am in Cameroon.
Yes, I'm waiting for you in Cameroon. We'll talk.
Thank you.
Yes, we'll talk. Now, what I want to explain here is that nobody mandated us to create the Frankist movement. We are responsible youths. The President of the Republic, His Excellency President Paul Biya, on the 11th of February 2023, this year, said, you are responsible youths. On the 10th of February 2023, when he was addressing the youths, he said, you are responsible youths, you are skillful youths, organize yourselves. We don't need anybody to mandate us to organize ourselves. We are responsible Cameroonians, and the president has given us the go-ahead that generational transition is now. We came together. What can we do? The president is advising us to organize ourselves. We should be able to create a movement. Somebody like me, I'm a CPDM youth. I will say it. I'm a cadre within the basic organs of the CPDM. But I say, if actually we want to take power, we should not limit this movement within the CPDM. We should be able to go out of our political sphere of competence. We should create a movement that brings people from different political backgrounds, civil society, who can all come together and believe in the ideology. What is the ideology of the Frankist movement? The ideology of the Frankist movement is to encourage youths go in for political leadership at all levels. At the council, at the parliament, at the senate, at the regional council, and why not the presidency? But we needed to identify a frontline youth for the office of the president. And we had some criteria to select a youth that will represent us. And following our criteria, Mr. Frank Emmanuel Olivier Biya came out first. And that is why we are championing him to go in as a presidential candidate only if the patriarch, the wise man, the father of the nation, His Excellency President Paul Biya, will be taking his retirement. We are preparing after President Paul Biya. What next? You asked about under which mechanism. Frank Biya has a party. That party is called the CPDM. Okay? He has a party, and he is free. If he sees that Cameroonians love him, Cameroonians are calling for him to choose. It's not even important for us in the Frankist movement which party Frank Biya is going to use to run. It's not important for us. What is important for us is to get 10 million Frankists registered with voters card. Even if he says that he's standing for SDF, he will win. If he says that he's standing for CPDM, he will win. But what we should understand is that Frank Biya has a party, which is the CPDM. If Pa, the father of the nation, will not be going in again, the CPDM in my party will have primaries during the Congress, when we elect our presidential candidate or our new party chairman. If within the CPDM, Frank Biya is already popular among the CPDM youths, who are majority of the Frankist movement, He's already popular even out of the CPDM, civil society, the church, and so on. He's so popular with 10 million Cameroonians behind him. Even within the CPDM, he's going to beat any candidate for the primaries. And when he beats the candidate, he emerges.
Okay, your point has been made. Now, Dr. Ako, John Ako, we are 2 years to presidential elections. What, according to you, were supposed to be the key steps by opposition members to show that they learned their lessons from 2018? Because since 2018, though PADDY says preparations are ongoing for the holding of their convention, reorganizations have been taking place at the basic level for the Social Democratic Front. We have seen the election of regional presidents across the nation. But what, according to you, were supposed to be those key signs that, okay, lessons have been learned from 2020, 2018, and that we start preparing from there?
Yeah, what has been happening, like we are still doing now, when you see the strength and the power which Prince OBOSSO is using with PADDY, who are equally, let's say so, opposition leaders, because the Frankist movement is not in power. And rightly he said it's a movement and not a political party.
A movement that cuts across political
parties. And so where is the quarrel between him and PADDY, who is an SDF member? One of the highest things which you need to behave here, most often than not, is to charge for political solidarity. Political solidarity, which is a philosophy which is preached and said we are all of the same boat and all of us have the intention of winning and gaining power. How can we be one skipper? How can you protect me and how can I protect you? Yes, that is what goes on with other nations. Just imagine during the movement in France that just ended, and you saw how the opposition on a law on retirement, you can imagine that most of the opposition party had a common stand, and their stand were with the people. Anything that affects the people affects them, and so they were not with the ruling party of Emmanuel Macron. And this is what gives the solidity in what the outcome now is still going, because that bill is still going under debate, which means that if opposition in Cameroon need to win elections, we are supposed to be seeing even church programs attended by selected opposition parties to pray that the spirit of togetherness should be among them before even coming together. If they have to form a common pole, it needs to be, first of all, be a moral mindset, changing the paradigm. They will need something that is more than themselves, something which is more spiritual than physical. Because physically, I'm telling you that, even like he just quoted, the division within opposition themselves, within the same party, is stronger than the quest to gain power. Why do we quarrel? Like he said, SDF is in court. You went to MRC. The moment you oppose the big man, you are out of the party. Disciplinary committee. The moment you are here, you are castigated. And you ask yourself, are these the signs of 2025? Is this how we prepare 2025? Which means somewhere, they don't even know where they are going. And since, like I said at the beginning, if Cameroon opposition need to win power, we need that principle of solidarity among oppositions. We need to be, first of all, I said, a moral concern. A moral concern is that people keep that their armchair leadership. The armchair leadership is that I'm the president and you are the subordinate. I created a party and you were not there when the party was created. Remember, these are the quarrels. People quarrel in oppositions. When we are looking for winning power, the question asked is, how can I win power? And why do you have internal upheavals that cannot restore peace even in the mind of those who think that you are the ones going to gain power? What sanctity are we creating? Let's say we have used 1 year to get on with solidarity, getting registered, which others are doing already. Get the voters, the young ones. A lot of Cameroonians are not in the electoral register. How can we get them in? If we get them in, the next strategy is how we protecting our vote. We protect votes before even elections are conducted. We know how many polling stations are in Cameroon, and which means that where you are not there, I am there as the SDF. We can mandate you when the PRC or the NC or UDC, when you are there, let me mandate you will stand for me, protect my vote. This is how the principle of solidarity goes. Can you protect your votes? People will tell you that the CPDM has won. Why will the CPDM not win? when governors and SDOs are already the agents of the state? And where they are, you are not present. How do you intend to protect your votes there? Yes, they voted for you. How did you protect those votes? When you have no representative in some polling station, where there is no accord within opposition to protect one another. And such an accord on instrument should be an official or a national instrument. That we have 10 opposition parties in Cameroon, and that where their parties are, where the candidates are, their representative at polling station will represent both parties. So he has a duty, since there's already that agreement, to protect fellow opposition leaders' votes. These are some of the things which we need to think. Then even getting on the legal part, which the government have vehemently refused. President Emmanuel Macron came to Cameroon, he spoke with government officials and told them to their face that the type of electoral laws in Cameroon, if they were the same laws in France, in Macron, wouldn't have been possible. Which means, somewhere, pressure from opposition would have changed the statement of refining or fine-tuning the laws to suit an opposition climate. But what do we see? We realize that after small quarreling left and right, MRC is not in parliament. How does he participate? That is where again the principle of solidarity work. SDF, you are in the parliament. The PCRN, you are in the parliament. Do us this favor. You can cause havoc in parliament. I want to tell you, not even getting in line with the second topic, for those who were in southern Cameroon and what happened in the Eastern Regional House of Assembly. We were not many. There were just 9 representatives. But you can imagine what happened. We are not going there. We are not coming to that assembly in Onogo. And you imagine how Nigeria vibrated before Southern Cameroon was given an autonomous region. Just imagine in the next session, nobody from the opposition is present. While session is going on, imagine them gathering at a party conference house in Douala, fixing the lines among themselves. You can imagine what tension the international community will give a consent. But people sit, they think of their mission for the session. That mission order for that session, which they are thinking of gaining, is more than the interest of the people to protect. These are the type of opposition we are talking. Some of them, after voted into office, which we have just observed, they have simply disappeared. Yesterday they were on media, today media is no longer their friend. Because they don't want to even see. They are eating quietly, let them eat quietly. Just imagine that. Opposition in Cameroon need to be fine-tuning the laws that govern selection, that gives equity, fairness, transparency to the next generation. But you will realize, like I said, and people like OBOSSO will be very happy with the climate. If it stays like that, it is the same ball game, the same rules will apply. And so if their candidate is chosen, they will win. And if they go for the primaries, just know that they have won. We were here during the senatorial elections. What happened? All the candidates by the CPDM in the various polls won 100%. Who had changed, who had claimed that there is foul in the electoral process. Elections of senators is an indirect suffrage. How do we change that? Because it will favor that the CPDM will be at the Senate for the next decade. And there will be no opposition in the Senate. And we are quiet. So few people benefited from the wisdom of the head of state by being picked up randomly. And they are now at the Senate. They to imagine such a person, will you oppose the ruling party after receiving favor from the signature of the President of the Republic? Is that an opposition party? So within my understanding, if the present Cameroon needs to change, there is a lot of groundwork. And like I told people, when you look at what is going on in the United States, when Donald Trump lost to Joe Biden, he started the campaign just the next day. The next election is prepared from the last time you lost the election. Just imagine where we are. We are 2 years. People are still quarreling. We are still sanctioning members of the same party. Candidates we are counting to pull the popularity that we need. The opposition themselves are quarreling and fighting more than any other person. I've not seen where the people have quarreled on the street. Even though some said they manage their bread and their sardine quietly, we have not seen them quarreling on the political platform to say you are not supposed to be there. They do it in gentlemen manner. You are not yet mature in the party, you will not be here. And it goes like that. Wait for your turn. If you have a favor with what they call godfatherism, okay, he might favor you. We must not use the same channel. But then, with the opposition, I'm telling you that, like I just said, there is a lot to be done. And I think Cameroon still have some time. We, like I wrote somewhere, maybe the Messiah for Cameroon will come later.
Okay, maybe the Messiah may come later. So many persons are of the opinion that by this time the opposition should be looking forward to presenting a candidate, a coalition candidate to the population, so that they take time to educate them and even inspire hope in them, especially those who are reluctant to register with ELECAM. We know that Buhari, before coming to power, came together under the APC political platform, a platform of our opposition parties that was created 2 years before elections. PADDY ASANGA, what is happening within the opposition in Cameroon? Are you already engaging with other political parties for a possible coalition?
Yes, Mr. Leo, that's a very brilliant question, and I expected that question, and I prepared for it. You know, there is a position in quotes and off quotes. It's not a political party, and it's not a political agenda. And the difficulties that we have in the opposition is that we have gone through these years and we have noticed that there is a system that doesn't favor majority of the Cameroonians, and this system is being protected by France and its students or her students. And you will not bring anything that comes and say, or everybody is a position so that that person comes to infiltrate you, and tomorrow you start noticing that, no, this person actually was this and was not that. No. We know the credible opposition, and we know that the opposition has been infiltrated and, with the help of France. Anglophones in general have contested the system. In a bad methodology or not, in a good form or not, that's a very different question. That's a very different question. But you have people who think that they can just come into the opposition and say that, oh, we are Frankists, we want to inherit the system because the leader of our movement is the son of the system. Every Cameroonian, as we speak, they don't believe in Mr. Biya's Jacobinist system and his friends or his French acronyms. They don't. So we should be able to bring people together who want to transit from Jacobinism to federalism that almost every Cameroonian and majority of Francophones stand for. Why not with an Anglophone president? To be able to quell down the grudge that our Anglophone brothers have. And this grudge emanates from the abolishment of the federal constitution, where there was alternation of power. So we think and we actually believe that the time has come for us Cameroonians to unite Cameroon, one Cameroon, in a federal system, in our diversity. That makes our force. That's what we are saying. And you know, Leo, you say I should say what we have been doing, and I will say it. All the work that we have been doing, crisscrossing Cameroon, is to federate all the forces who think that an Anglophone president can become a Cameroon, an Anglophone can become the president of Cameroon, and that we should transit from this hyper-centralized system to federalism. Now, you would understand that the decentralization has failed. The only thing that we came out with from the Grand National Dialogue is the saving of life, and that is thanks to late Cardinal Tumi. That's what I'm saying. And you know the role that Cardinal Tumi played. You know the role that many people have been playing silently to keep Cameroonians intact. Some people have criticized the chairman Frundi for not picking arms. But if the chairman, John Frundi, said, okay, we are going to go into an armed struggle with what they call state of emergency, I don't think I would be alive. And it's thanks to the leadership of the SDF and the Union for Change, UPC, everybody who supported and elected the chairman at the time, that we, some of us, are still alive to tell our story. So when some people come here and just say that they are the opposition, and he tells you, the same person tells you that he belongs to the Frankist movement, and Frank Biya is the member of the CPDM. He's the son of Paul Biya. We see him parading with Macron and all that nonsense. Where do you think we are heading to? So the opposition is not a political party. Anybody can call himself opposition. I'm opposed to my father because I don't want my father to die. I want my father to install me there. I'm opposed to my father. That is opposition. But it is not a political ideology. What is the political ideology? Is it the renouveau? Is it federalism, 10 state, 4 state, 5 state, 2 state, and all that stuff? Those are political concepts that can be applied in Cameroon and make sure that every Cameroonian feels concerned and has that autonomy to be able to govern his or herself without going to Yaoundé to give bribes, maybe to Mr. Biya's minister or to Frank Biya's minister, if these people succeed in their macabre program that they have. So that's what I'm saying. Thank you for having me. I'm listening, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, what would explain the fact that most of these parties here, so many of them are existing? You won't hear anything about their existence, even the names of their presidents, but 2 weeks, he should come in for this one. We have 300 political parties in Cameroon. So many of them, let him come, then I come to you. And we don't even know the names of these presidents, no, the parties, but once presidential elections are announced, you see all of them coming out. What have they been doing?
It's not like what have they been doing. We need to equally ask for what purpose they were created. Like Prince OBOSSO is here, he will tell you that they are there for their number one. And so they only come when the number one activities are involved. Some people created political parties in Cameroon, I said, for a lobbyist idea. Lobbyist idea is to inform the power that they too, they are available. And they are not available to gain power, they are there to support you. A lot of political parties in Cameroon are agents of the ruling party. I am telling you, you know of the G20, you know of the G35. On the eve of election, 35 different movements or parties gathered and signed a common memorandum to support the President of the Republic. In the same, the other, the 20, the Grand Van, that is why we have Maitre Momo today, minister. And if that is the case, how do you wish that within an electoral year, such political parties should even go out for campaign? That is why I said the rules that be governing elections in Cameroon are still they are in opacism, in the level that we don't even know what they serve. How can people keep on registering political parties every day? In other nations, we are limited to 4 or 5, and there are standards for you to own a political party or even talk about it. But our laws, the divide and rule policy, which PADDY may be right, which is highly confirmed and promoted by the French, is that when they are hungry, they will come for you and they will submit for you. This is what happens. You find some people, I may not know, but the UNDP, when you look at a party like the UNDP, that has been in power since I was born. They always own a ministry. What are their outputs? Where have they won elections? What are they thinking? A lot of them there. You have that of the former Minister of Communication. It's like Chiruma Bakari. Are they to win power? If it is not that democracy was brought to Africa to oppress the weak, in what domain will Cameroon, in what atmosphere will Cameroon need 350 political parties? Like now, when you ask all of them, who call themselves opposition, can you win election? Can you win election? If we address that question to many of these opposition leaders, ask them whether they can win election. They will tell you they will win. But that is in the physical mindset. In the moral and internal mindset, they know they will never win. You have the MRC making a lot of propaganda. Can you win election? You know very well where you are not present. How can you abandon 2 or 3 regions you are not present and you are talking of winning elections? By what magic? So opposition parties in Cameroon have been driven by hunger, poverty, ulterior mindsets to call themselves opposition. I'm happy when Obosso asked me why we were seated, that you have been talking since. Where are you? And I gave him a response. The present climate of what we call political party does not permit some honest group of people to even join a political party. Imagine I wrote the other day, I believe you read it. If this is how they sanction people at opposition parties, that me, Ako, will join a political party, in after 2 years, a president will come out and say that he has been sanctioned. And people ask, why were you even there? Can you imagine how your head will become very long and heavy to carry? Who even took you there? Because these are not oppositions. When you look at what is going on, I'll talk like the UK, you have the Labour Party that is out for now. You have the other guys who are ruling. And the moment their policies are not attained, you see in results oriented. Political parties should be capable of evaluating themselves. How many opposition parties in Cameroon evaluate themselves? Evaluations at the level of opposition in Cameroon are done on individual basis. I have been in parliament 5 times, 5 mandates. You have gained 5 mandates. The mandate you gained were not for the political party you represented. They are the mandate which you have gained for you and your business transactions. Yes, some people even said others win not because they voted them. Joue bien avec Yaoundé. Play your cards well with Yaoundé. You continue winning. And so people have that name as the elders of the Senate, as the elders of the National Assembly. As I was shocked. The president of the National Assembly said there is killing the Northwest and the Southwest. And if you ask oppositions, pick up that statement and ask that young man that since we have been here 7 years now, what has the opposition done? What has the opposition done to redress the issues in the Northwest and the South, which is a lawmaker's objective? You represent the people. Where are they? Yes, some people even said those who were singing and blowing whistles in the parliament simply use an occasion to advertise that they are present. And that's just what happened. After the dancing and the singing, everything went back to normal. Have we seen people resigning in Cameroon because a particular issue is not settled? Have we seen people dropping from the position they were because what they represent as their people, their plight, have not been taken into consideration? So opposition in Cameroon is an instrument of division, divide and rule, which the government has understood. And the Minister of Territorial Administration will not hesitate to recognize new political parties because it plays in favor of the ruling party.
We are 2 years to elections. Do we think it's logical? Does it make sense for persons to get up today to wanting to create new political parties? How do you implant yourself? How do you mobilize for elections in 2 years at time? But talking about coalition, at what time should a coalition be formed? Now or when elections are called, Prince Obosso?
Yeah, thank you again, Mr. Leo. As Dr. Ako rightly said, when you fail, you start preparing from the day you fail. Okay? Coalitions or preparations for a presidential election should have started since 2018, when we had the last presidential elections. President Biya came out with 71%. President Kamto was following with 14. Cabral Libi with 6. How you have 14 in a presidential election? And this is 2023. You are not doing anything concrete. You are either fighting to be chairman with other militants of your party. You are not doing anything concrete, specific, to show Cameroonians that actually you are interested to take power. Then I don't know what you are doing. PADDY ASANGA is spending his time with the ABC model, accusing, blaming, and complaining.
Yeah, but PADDY
Cameroon.
PADDY did not index you.
Cameroon is a sovereign and independent state. You cannot come on TV and say that France is infiltrating, blaming France for infiltrating the opposition. What the heck? It's ridiculous, outrageous that a sovereign state like Cameroon, you have your opposition and you are comfortable in accusing another country, which is not even an African nation, a European country, of infiltrating the opposition so that you people cannot do well. It is because you people are irresponsible. The opposition is irresponsible. They don't want to work. You ask Paddy the question.
No.
What is the opposition doing?
I asked you a question.
What is the opposition doing concretely to prepare for presidential election? He has not been able to answer you. He has not been able, and he is saying that if Frambia goes in for election, he will come and challenge Frambia. On what grounds? Is he sure? Is he sure to win an election within his party, SDF, Mr. Paddy ASANGA? Can he stand for any position within his party, the SDF, and win? That is Paddy ASANGA. That is Chairman Ni John Frundi going. Come and challenge Joshua Osi. Let us see.
Prince Obosso, I asked you a question when you think is best for the creation of a coalition. You are
the best time to create a coalition. You do a stock take after presidential elections. What went wrong? I'll quote you an example of the 2018 presidential elections. It was at the eve of the voting, 2 to 3 days to the eve of the voting, that we saw how Barrister Akeremuna is uniting with Kamto. Look at when people think that they can come together to take power at the eve of voting. You see that they are just going there to show off. This is now. They would have started, but it's not even too late. We still have 1 year or plus. We should be able to hear that SDF, MSA, I don't know, the PAP, whatever, they are having a big convention in Douala or in Yaoundé or in Boya or in Bamenda to see how they can come together, invite the other political parties so that they can form a common front. Is it France who will tell you people not to come together to do that work? Because that is what he's trying to demonstrate here now, blaming another country for infiltrating the opposition. So to answer your question specifically, Mr. Leo, the time to prepare for a coalition to take over power is immediately after presidential elections. That was not done. Mr. Kamto spent his time claiming elections he didn't win, calling on Cameroonians to go on the streets to revolt and so on. What has been the outcome? People are leaving the party because he could not be president. He did not want anybody to be anything. So you see that the opposition is just a joke. They are just jokers.
Okay, I'm not sure they are just jokers. We have honorable persons who are working in the Cameroon's opposition. We've seen the democratic strides made so far, both at the level of individual parties as well as some persons who have pushed for reforms to be made in Cameroon. And I'm sure this is because of the enormous work that the opposition is doing, that the party you belong to, the CPDM party, I've seen them attend the last convention in Bamenda, where I see them attending. I see the national I see a national chairman also receiving the chairman Ni John Frundi to show that if they were jokers, he would not do that. But Paddy ASANGA, when should a veritable coalition be formed in Cameroon and presented to Cameroons? Now or when elections are called?
Yes, Leo, I am not a prophet of doom, and I will say it as it is. And just like all the other panelists have said, after the elections is the preparation for elections. And we had done our mea culpa, and we had already started doing our homework. That one is seen on the ground. That is subject of no question. Now, when you listen to my brother, Prince EPUPU, he tells you that the opposition is doing nothing, but he comes again and tells you that, oh, in the Frankist movement, you have people of the opposition. Where? How can you say this? So, the Frankist movement started after the election. If you have to tell us if you want to inherit the system or you're opposing the system. That is where we are having the debate, and that's where I have my divide with you. But as a brother, I think that you have the right to your opinion. But then when you deviate and you become incoherent, you say come navigate, you gravitate from one position, you get confused. It becomes pathetic because we know that every child has inherited the system, and the system in which Cameroonians in their vast majority find themselves today is as the result of Mr. Biya's government, where he doesn't speak, he doesn't respond to journalists, he prefers to respond to French journalists, he doesn't receive he doesn't talk to anybody, but he only responds when attacks come from outside Cameroon, when they say exogene, there's attack exogene. So we have not heard anything from the person that you are usurping his name. Is it the same thing that you people are propagating on social media and on very serious platforms like this one that Mr. Leo is doing? Please, I want to have that question. You say that I should challenge Joshua Ossi. Yes, I can challenge Joshua Ossi anytime, anywhere. That position is known by me in the SDF. Tell your leader, Frank Biya, to challenge his father now, and I will challenge any other leader within the ambit of the status of our political party. That's what I'm trying to let you understand, my brother, and I think that you are of my generation, because when I look at your physiognomy, I think that we belong to the same generation, and we can do something together. I'm not going to cut your head and put on the stick because you lost the elections to me and you're a Frankist movement. You never supported the SDF. You did not give money for me to buy guns or not guns and all that stuff. We are not in that light. We accept the constitution that exists in Cameroon, bad or good. The constitution of every nation is by the opposition, and they want to change it. They don't want to inherit it. And that is the spirit of the SDF, and nobody can take it away from us. So, when you talk about conventions, when was the last time that you, the CPDM, because you say you are youths of the CPDMs who have created a movement within the CPDM, when was the last time that the CPDM had, how do you call it, an executive bureau where Mr. Biya was presiding as the head of the CPDM? When was it that they had their convention? I have learned that the leader of the CPDM is the natural candidate and all that stuff. Those are things we should be talking about. And when you say that you are working with leaders of or some opposition party, please tell me which opposition party. Call their names and I will tell you, because we have partners, we have militants in the opposition party that were trained by us, and they have gone and done great things in other opposition parties, and we are proud of them. These militants, we are going to work with them to make sure that they hold the flame of social democracy and that ideology to transit from federalism to Jacobinism. That's what we are talking about, my brother. We are not talking about inheriting a system that is of the Napoleonic law. L'État, c'est moi. Sur haute instruction de chef de l'État. But you never see that chef de l'État responding. And you are telling me about his child who has never done anything. But all we know are rumors, confirmed or not. In politics, some of those rumors, they have their places. So we are here to educate our people, tell them the truth, and stop imposturing. Because I, Paddy Asanga, I am saying this, I take responsibility for it. Frank Bia is an impostor that you people are using him as CPDM youth, as you call yourself, to make polls to see if what has happened in Chad, in Gabon, in Libreville.
Paddy Asanga,
I'm done. Thank you.
No, Paddy Asanga, you say Frank Bia is an impostor. An impostor is somebody who is impersonating, standing for something that he does not represent. I don't know where Frank Bia actually said he was standing for something. He has not said anything yet.
Okay, if Frank Bia is not an impostor, he should come and debunk what he's saying here. Or if he's not the impostor, then
he has said
he's an impostor.
No, he said
there are two things involved.
Yeah, but he said clearly.
Let you say that you are too smart. There are two things involved. Either Frank Bia is an impostor that his father is using to get polls to see if what happened in Gabon, in Chad, with Denis Sassou Nguesso can happen in Cameroon, or EPUPU, and those people who are using his name are impostors. So, ceteris paribus, everything being equal, it is an impostors movement. Paddy has said it.
Yeah, say the movement is describe the movement as an impostor, that indexing someone who has not said something. EPUPU himself said here that they were not asked to do it. Yeah.
Then he is an impostor.
Mr. Abakwa Boy.
I'm very happy that you brought EPUPU on this platform.
Abakwa Boy.
To expose him.
Abakwa Boy.
EPUPU is an impostor.
Abakwa Boy, listen to me. I am very coherent when I speak. I don't mix. I don't get confused. I'm very coherent. I made a statement here that the Frankist has come to correct the opposition. So when I say that the Frankist is a movement bigger than a political party because it encompasses different political parties within the movement.
Call the names of the political
listen
parties.
To me.
Call the names of the political
listen
parties.
To me. Let me learn.
Usurping and lying.
Listen to me. Let me learn.
Okay.
Yes. I made it clear to you that the Frankist movement is here to correct the opposition. It means that what? We have been able to bring not only political parties together, but the civil society and even the church into the Frankist movement. And even the church into the Frankist movement.
And the political parties.
Now, get it clear. Get it clear. Frank Bia is not an impostor. Neither am I an impostor. This decision to create this movement is coming from the youths, particularly of this country, who think that it is time for the youths to get into political leadership.
Understanding among the youths.
Who think that it is time for the youths to get into political leadership and take power at all levels, even at the levels of the state. Mr. Paddy, are you aware that we are 2.5 million Frankists?
Bring us the memoranda of understanding.
Are you aware that we are 2.5 million Frankists and we have objective to attain 10 million Frankists before 2025?
Where is the memoranda of understanding?
We have been able to do what the opposition is not able to do. We have been able to bring youths from diverse backgrounds to believe in an ideology, and it is working for us. That is why even the past 20th May, if you people watch the TVs and you are on social media, you saw that the Frankist movement, participated immensely.
I want to correct something, please. Excuse me. Those of you who are watching, you are writing to me that calling Paddy Asanga as Abakwa Boy is hate speech. No, that is how Paddy Asanga calls himself.
No, it's okay.
Yes,
I'm confident with that.
Yes, it is his name, please. So we are in a forum. That is how Paddy Asanga calls himself. So it is a name that he gave to himself. It is not. Please, don't get it twisted. Yes.
Yeah, as I was saying, Abakwa Boy raised a point that Frank Biya is not in government. He has never been in government. He has never held any political or administrative position. He mentioned the son of Idris Deby. He mentioned Ali Mbongo. He mentioned the son of Denis Sassou Nguesso, who is vice president of his country. I want to make it clear, that is one of the reasons why we choose Frank Biya. Because this is a youth that has possibility to be any position. He had the possibility to get into a NAM and become Director of Taxes, Custom, Minister of Finance, Territorial Administration, Defense, name it. But he refused all those things and said he wants to be in the private sector. And when we look at him in the private sector, he's doing so well. And we said we need a neutral person to stand for the youth. We don't want anybody who have political scores to settle when he becomes president. We don't want anybody who have political scores to settle when he becomes president. We don't want anybody who has skeletons in the cupboard. Are you aware that Cameroon is the only country where we have a full government in prison? From the prime minister, name the rest. Full government in prison. Those who have been in that position, they have all abused those state positions given to them. What has that experience served us? You hear they steal 20 billion, they steal 50 billion, they steal so much money. So we'll go and take them to represent us because they have spent 20 years, 30 years in government. That is not our interest. We needed a neutral candidate with no skeleton in the cupboards, a neutral candidate who will not have any scores to settle, a neutral candidate who does not belong into any political campaign or reso. We wanted somebody who is neutral, like in the real term, but who understands the corridors of power, who is versed with the operations of a 2D. And that person should be a youth. That is how Frank Biya came up to be our champion. So we should stop saying that he has no experience, even if he has to do with experience. He has been a confidential and close collaborator to the head of state, a special advisor. Many people have been asking the questions that in recent public celebrations, they see Frank Biya seated at the front seat. On what capacity is he sitting there, and so on. Some of us, when we see that, we celebrate. It makes us to understand that we are supporting a trusted and credible candidate that the head of state, His Excellency President Paul Biya, has confidence in. The fact that we see him seated there, it means that Frank Biya has been working on so many projects with the head of state on confidential basis. It comes to depict to us that we are on the right track. We are taking somebody who is well respected within the protocols of this country. There is no chair for the son of the head of state. We have a chair for the first lady in public outings, according to our constitution. But if he is there, it is because he's a close collaborator. He has been doing so many things for this country.
Okay. Now, he's been doing so many things for this country. So, if parties exist without even taking part in municipal, parliamentary, and presidential elections, but they have been existing for 20, 25, 30 years, do we really need all these parties?
Yeah, Mr. Leo, you will believe that for reasons of governance, to maintain, to catch up, to hypnotize, to even fragment Cameroonians. This is what happened. I said the Minister of Territorial Administration will not have any problem registering a new party For what purpose? The purpose itself, the nation, is that they divide Cameroonians, they sing praises to the head of state on the eve of election, and the ruling party remains. In my first outing, I said the CNU has simply been clogged with the CPDM gadget. And if then you tell somebody, we say, seriously, it is sad. It will mean, since the CNU in 1966, it's the same party that has been ruling Cameroon since after independence. And many will think that the divide and rule policy, remember, we had a lot of quarrel over the hate speech. Hate speech was propagated by people creating platforms to oppose others that think they are not of their reasoning, to sing glories, to align and adore the leadership in power, and others again to be heard and to position themselves in certain places in government. Must we denigrate? Must we reduce? Must we cause blasphemous? Should we destroy the characters of individuals because we want to gain power? That is why we are calling on the judiciary in Cameroon that there is a need. The State Council chambers, the Procureur General, they have a duty to make investigation even when certain issues are not brought before them. In fact, sometime here I said, there were 3 guys in Niger who sat and wrote a letter to the President of the Republic, what they call Appel de Peuple, of what exists in Cameroon. In Niger, people wanted to copy. The moment the letter got to the President, all those 3 guys were arrested and sent to prison. Such a leadership that expects sanctity from its people will not like people to maneuver the mind of the state to maybe satisfy their own egoistic or self-centered tendencies. Why is opposition in Cameroon not streamlined to a particular number so that Cameroonians can easily make a choice? Cameroon electoral register might indicate 7 million people, and the government presents, or election presents, 16 political parties for presidential elections. At the end of the day, some people are coming out with 0.5, 0.2%. Was it even necessary for the government to use taxpayers' money to finance such standards? Is there even the purpose or the reason to organize such an election? At times it is wastage. Wastage and damage to the economy. That day you use for election has killed a lot of businesses. Why not? I know that there is just fear at the level of the parliament to tell us that Cameroon has become a kingdom. And I will tell you that nothing will still happen. If such a bill is tabled in Cameroon today, nothing will happen. It will pass quietly. They have the absolute majority. Mandates were changed. Mandates were unlimited. So creating and forming political parties in Cameroon, I can create my own tomorrow. In fact, I was intending that after some time, when I want to do politics, I can call the new BIS regime, the new BIS political party. I am equally waiting that the moment I get to the corridors of such an initiative, I should be identified and given the same share of the cake that others want to eat. And that is why Cameroon is suffering today. Individualism. Now, can the nation sacrosanctly?
If I may ask you, if by 2023, mid-2023, no coalition is formed, are opposition parties telling us today that a single party has what it takes, financial, human, amongst other resources, to win an election in Cameroon?
Oh, Mr. Leo, that is, I may differ in your questioning. Okay. Because when you talk of a single party, you give an idea as if the party of Cameroon is different from the government. Yes, say the government of Cameroon is different from the other parties.
No, we are talking opposition.
Yes, I know that is what you, I just want to give you some rectification.
Okay.
Because what we have seen here, elections are still being controlled by the Minister of Territorial Administration. Not like it exists in other countries where you have an independent electoral board. Results of elections in Cameroon should be read 1 month after. Nobody has a mandate to declare any results from any place. Such electoral laws are simply made in favor of the dark movement. Things happen before then. And, were you aware that when ballot boxes are kept in Yaoundé after presidential election, it caught fire? before even reading the election officially. And that election will be proclaimed by the Constitutional Council, and not what we call elections Cameroon. And people ask, why move from Onel to Elekam? Some of us who discussed it said it was just giving a name to the new baby to tell Cameroonians that something had changed. Nothing had changed. Because the government, through the Constitutional Council, is the one celebrating election. And when people make complaints of that nature, within Cameroon today, I'm not telling you, we are not like Paddy said, you should not be a prophet of doom. But at times in political analysis, it is at times good to be honest. If by the end of this 2023, oppositions cannot tell Cameroonians that we have forgo or we are foregoing our own individual interests to serve the nation. Remember what happened in 2007 when opposition parties to try coming together. Nijon Fundi, the UDC, and the rest. In that same night, there was a clash. The fact is that Anglophone cannot be a leader. So Nijon Fundi could not lead. And imagine Nijon Fundi not seeing himself as the main opposition party aligning or falling behind another candidate. That it collapsed automatically. Just without that being done, which is not even possible. Mr. Leo, we are in June. If we are talking of end of year, it's another 6 months' time. We have not seen oxygen. We have not seen the movement. We have not seen the ripples, the affairs, and even moving towards that direction. Do you want to win election?
Only the Frankist movement is doing something.
So Frankist remain a movement. It's not a political party.
Yes.
That party will
but
come with you.
they are preparing a candidate who belongs to a political party.
They are not preparing because it's not their party. They are not.
They are preparing a candidate who belongs to a political party.
Please.
Yes, away from what you just said, can a single political party today be able to raise a human resource, financial resources to stand clean and beat the system?
Mr. Leo, you are a magician because I have written here.
Okay.
This is what I just made. Can Cameroon opposition today win power for 2025?
They cannot.
No, you're not the one asking.
Can they win power?
They cannot win.
You can't say they cannot, please. Now, please.
They cannot win.
No.
They will win elections if the
incomplete,
the obstacle to the electoral process are fixed.
Why would they keep egoistic tendencies?
Prince Obosso, please.
Every human being has that. Even before you belong to the Frankists, there's an individual character.
Please, Cameroonian youths don't have any hopes for the opposition.
Prince Obosso,
come to the Frankist movement and let's move forward.
Yes, you are going to.
Don't have any hope for the opposition.
Yes,
it has failed.
You are going to say that at the end.
It has failed.
Please, Prince.
Yes, I said I asked this question to myself before you brought it up. Can opposition win elections in Cameroon today? The first aspect is that yes, they can do it. Carrying on the positive mindset nature, which I explained at the beginning. Fight for the transformation of the electoral democracy. They should change electoral laws and make all Cameroonians equal. Yes.
When they don't have positions in parliament.
Please.
When they don't have positions in parliament,
it
they will change.
Parliament that votes president.
How would they change electoral laws?
Please.
Parliamentary
elections.
We just had the recent Senate. The opposition was not there. In Northwest and Southwest, we did not see opposition. How would they change the electoral laws?
That is even the problem.
How would they change it?
Elections.
By going to the streets and calling the youth for violence?
Prince, we have never called for violence.
Opposition has failed.
I have said they have failed. But today, they still have a possibility. This is 2023. And I said by the end of the year, if things work well, we need to have continuous pressure on the government. It is not necessary. We are all Cameroonians. If we are not comfortable, when you talk of majority in parliament, the majority in parliament, which you have said, is because they have a manipulated mindset. Some people call it party discipline. But if members of parliament know within them that the mandate that took them to parliament is to represent the people, Cameroon is going to be the next destination on earth. But once in parliament, people fight for their individual interests rather than interests that took them to the parliament. If Cameroon is honest, to the highest of it, if things are done right before December, we have 2 years. Any December to when election will organize in 2025, oppositions can make hay while the sun shines. And I'm telling you, if that is done, the electoral laws of this nation are fixed, and that the opposition has a subdued mind of humility among the opposition leaders.
Doctor, I'm not cutting you short. I'm not cutting you short. When PADDY, ASANGA and Agbombala comes on air and say an Anglophone must be president. Okay, they say an Anglophone must be president. Or it's time for an Anglophone president to rule Cameroon.
Which is right.
It's not constitutional.
And that must not be constitutional.
No, there is
an ideology. It's a movement.
No, listen.
Please, it's a movement.
No, listen. Yeah. There is. You cannot come and say an Anglophone must be president.
How you as president?
How are you going to merge? How are you going to merge with the other francophone parties, opposition parties?
We are not merging. We are simply asking political parties
please,
that this time,
please,
where they are in their party, it should be an Anglophone.
No. Yeah,
we have not changed any political party.
No, the issue is
no.
Okay.
The issue is the presidency is not rotatory. It is not rotatory for francophone and for anglophone. It's not constitutional. Yeah. So when they make statements like that, they weaken the opposition. They weaken the opposition. That is why I say that they cannot go anywhere.
Prince Obosso, please.
Let's ride on.
No. Prince Obosso.
Let's ride on.
No,
I've never even dropped. I've not dropped with what I was saying.
Yes.
No. I wanted to correct something. You say they are calling for an Anglophone to be president.
Yes.
Just like you are calling for
Zambia to president.
Please.
No. Please.
No, reason on that.
No. It's two different things.
It is not constitutional.
Let me come. We are in a moment where some people are instigating that a part of Cameroon, which is Anglophone Cameroon, should become independent. And when you come on air and say that an Anglophone must be president for the Anglophone crisis to be resolved,
it's not a crisis.
Is that constitutional?
We are not linking an Anglophone.
That is what he said. That is what PADDY ASANGA said.
Get it from me.
That is what PADDY ASANGA
said. We are not electing an Anglophone.
These people want to instigate war in this country. When they make sarcastic statements like that on constitutional statements, that an Anglophone must be president, they want to instigate war.
We are not instigating war.
Can we take a break? Welcome back. You're watching Prime on my Media Prime. We have 27 more minutes to go. PADDY ASANGA, what should the opposition start? PADDY, what's happening? Report. Okay. PADDY, can we learn our lessons? What should the opposition be doing to tell Cameroonians that they are getting ready for 2025?
Mr. Leo.
Yes.
The opposition should be doing exactly what the SDF is doing.
Okay.
Renewing its basic organs, sending its activists on the field, despite all what is happening. And we believe in an intra-Anglophone dialogue. You know, Cameroonians have lost it all, especially those of us who have spent a lot of time in the diaspora. And we think that we have the palliable solution that we can just copy and paste. No, it doesn't work like that. The opposition should be humble enough and do its work and then work with the diaspora so that the diaspora will be able also to bring in new blood. So any opposition party that is not doing that, that is not bringing its militants, its activists on the ground, has no place, because at the end of the day, the laws and the decisions that whosoever takes over power is going to affect the life of Cameroonians. You know, we are living in the Western world, and they have told us from time immemorial that they are not in history, they are interested in 50-50 partnership. We have gotten that message, and you can only get to do that 50-50 partnership with them if you do your work on the ground and can prove at the concert of nations that you are a constituted political party but not a movement, then they will listen to you. And for some of us who are militants for years now, we belong to the International Socialist Movement, and we are at our front, at the home front. We bring back data from the home front. We collect data from our militants who are in Cameroon, in Garoua, in Marwa, in Baimboum, in Bafoussam, in Yaoundé, and we submit it to them to tell them that we are ready to you people as partners, but not as somebody who's dominating other people. And we are not saying that we are the best students of France to please them, or we are not saying that, oh, PADDY ASANGA is the child of the president, and if you make me president, your interests will continue to be protected. We have looked at data that is coming from Western African countries. We are listening to the people on the ground, and majority of Cameroonians are tired of this hyper-Jacobinist system, and that is the message that every serious political party constituted in Cameroon with bad or good constitution should be selling to our people, so that they will give us the mandate to renegotiate the post-colonial contracts that are binding and are still binding, but they don't want to agree with us. So when you see somebody like my friend EPUPU telling you that Frank Biya is the only candidate, he's a militant of the CPDM, don't forget that CNU became CPDM. So it's a continuation. And we also think that the best Anglophone, if I am the president of Cameroon tomorrow, I will be better than Mr. Biya and Ahidjo combined. So why should I shy from saying that and saying it publicly? If it means that they will take me, then let them take me out when I come to Cameroon, because I'm coming to Cameroon to continue this fight and to let our people know that we cannot be killing ourselves at the benefit of white boys, where Frank Biya sits around his father and Macron says that they should release all the Francophones who are in jail but abandon the Anglophones. And we think that given the federal constitution, an Anglophone can also be the president, and the worst Anglophone will be better than Mr. Biya and Ahidjo combined. I am done, Mr. Leo. Thank you for having me.
Okay. What should our opposition be doing, the parties? What should they be doing now? At least they still have 2 years. Yeah,
Mr. Leo, I've said I've given a right up to the end of the year. If it's not doing well, one, I've said they should fight for electoral democracy. Electoral democracy in terms of the laws, electoral democracy in terms of the space. Because you see what the ruling party is doing, added with Prince OBOSSO. They have been going left and right. I have not known whether they have been taking authorization to organize some meetings, or they are, whatsoever they are doing to call members of the Frankists. But now you would not see the same. It will not be the same if the SD of the MRSC does in that light. The political parties, the ruling party, equally has more than exceptional time on the time space in Cameroon to talk anytime. Anytime there is a governor present for a meeting, there is CPDM present. Every time there is a birthday of the President of the Republic, the CPDM is present. Every time they celebrate 6 March, when they took power, the CPDM is present. Does the other political parties have that same time, space, and even the material wealth to create such a forum? Now we have equally somewhere that there is a need for unity among oppositions. Yes, opposition, the law oppositions did not mean fragmentation and division among those who make up opposition. So when you are not with a government, then you are a member of the opposition. But the funniest thing we're equally begging is that Cameroonians should forgo individual interests and work for a common good. A common good will mean, why not just create a social media or a social media platform for all oppositions in Cameroon, going from leadership to bureau members to even the least, the base. If we start with even at the level of social media, then we stop condemnations of one another, infighting among oppositions, I believe is going to create a better climate for 2025. Before this all, many need to encourage and do the prospective services of registration in the voters register. And every opposition party in Cameroon should know that majority of those who are not registered are the people, potential voters for opposition. Because what we have seen, that those who have been going successfully, those of the CBDM have been doing it greatly. They don't need every day to tell people to come and take their cards. You know already that once you are a member, you take the CBDM card. And from there you go with contribution of resources. Meaning there's more determination, which opposition instead need that energy than the ruling party. We need to have more determined leadership to encourage new voters, voters registration, and why not equally work on the security of their votes. With presidential election is just one, meaning equally we may be talking of parliamentary elections immediately or even before. You know, the President of the Republic still have the knife and the yam to call off and call in presidential elections. So parliamentary elections, even before the presidential elections. We should be very careful with this. He has the knife and the yam, and he always thinks that when they are ready, meaning the whole nation is ready, but which is not true. It is always caught like the opposition has always been surprised by the ruling strategies. They are strategic meaning coming from the ruling party more than from the opposition. Can we make opposition parties institutions of governance? Yes, we might not win elections, but we have a model role to present in the society, exceptional and against that which is happening within the ruling party. Opposition can play a role if Cameroonians come together, forgetting individualism. It is not because you are the highest person that have gone to school, others have not been to school. It's not because you have been in an office, others were not there. Mandate of leadership at times is not academically oriented. You can still be in school and not be wise enough. So we take leadership to those who are wise enough to take prompt decisions and let us know what opposition party can solve in Cameroon. It's not just singing. Many opposition parties don't even know the way forward. At times you have the manifesto. It's not all about the whole country. Present us 2 or 3 characters. We have 4 years mandate. You can transform Cameroon, and that others would admire. We are not saying that.
Okay. Prince OBOSSO, can we also conclude that the Cameroonians have betrayed the opposition because so many rallying calls have been made by the opposition, yet people are not accepting to adhere to these calls?
No, I don't think that Cameroonians have betrayed. They
have a warm attitude.
Yes,
towards,
it is because those who are leading these opposition parties are there for their parochial self-interest. Let me explain. After the 2018 presidential elections, President Kamto, when I say President Kamto, I mean MRC.
Yeah, but
he didn't win. What did he do? He didn't permit party members to go for councils and parliamentary election. Why?
No, but he gave reasons.
What reasons? What was the reason?
The party gave
that
reasons.
There is war in Ozo. That was his reason. That there is war in the Northwest and the Southwest. But when he was contesting for elections, 2018, it was the heart of the crisis. He didn't say there is war. But because he didn't win, he does not want anybody to win. How do you expect Cameroonians to support those kind of movements? Cameroonians are not failing anybody. The oppositions are failing themselves. And when you people are so unserious, you take, I'm sorry, very foolish decisions, you cannot have the support of the people. What is even presidential election even? When we want to look at the country management and the structure, the president, the office of the president should be the least. Mr. Biya alone cannot govern Cameroon. If he has to do development in Cambe, he has to pass through the council of Cambe. He has to pass through the regional council. He has to pass through the parliament. So when opposition, their leaders focus on the position of the presidency, if they don't have it, they forget about any other thing. They are missing the point. When we talk about party representation in a country, it's not the office of the president. How many councils are there in Cameroon? Opposition, you people should be thinking. We have over 325 councils, if I'm not mistaken. You people should be thinking that you should at least take half. Why you take half of the councils? You control local development. You people are the mayors. Even the president of the republic will be obliged to work with you people. But you ignore all that. Senatorial election, no. Why is the SDF? Paddy ASANGA, where is your party? Northwest and Southwest. Senatorial election, nothing.
Are you answering my question, Prince?
So I'm just trying to explain here that Cameroonians have not failed the opposition, but the opposition, because of egoistic tendency,
now
showmanship.
Let's get to the CPDM. How much confidence has the Cameroonian population showed towards the CPDM party? Because we are in a country of 25 and above 1 million persons, but even your president is voted by less than 3 million persons. Is that a show of a strong following?
Now, what you should understand is that President Biya is having more than 50% of all those who participate in the elections.
With the numbers, do you think that Cameroonians in the vast majority are? Because I asked the question about political participation for opposition parties. You give the impression that they were active. So I'm asking, when you look at the numbers that even focus on Biya, there's a tale of a nation where people really are active and wishing to support political parties.
When the participation is low compared to the population of Cameroon, we registered 6.5 million members in the last presidential elections 2018. 6.5, and in 6.5, only about 3.5 actually turned out to vote. You see that even those who went and registered to vote on the day of the voting, they come out. About 53% participated in the act of casting their vote. It tells you that the youth are not interested in politics. Because no,
I was asking.
No, the youths are not interested in politics because majority of them don't yet understand the role politics plays. The role politics plays in a country. It is based on the political climate, the political dispensation, the political will that you are able to graduate from school and start a business and your business grows. If you are conscious of that, then you take up the responsibility to participate in electoral matters. And that is what we, the Frankists, we have come to do. What we say Operation 10 million is to beat the records of registered members of 2018 to educate Cameroonians that politics is very important. You people should not ignore.
Principal, so but you should seduce them now. I'm not calling others foolish and useless.
No, I said I'm sorry, but it's an adjective I had to use. I had no option. Yes.
Okay, Paddy ASANGA, one word on a comparative look on the politicians we had in the 60s and 70s to you people who are today on the stage. What's your rating? Would you say they were better or you guys are better?
Leo, I would not probe on our forebears, and I am a fervent advocate of the walkout at the Enugu Parliament, and I think that, and I seriously think that we should emulate what they did. And they were all indirect representatives. They were parliamentarians who were representing us as East Cameroon, Southern Cameroon, call it what you want to call it. They came together and discovered the marginalization that we're getting from, call it the Igbo people or the Biafra, and they decided to join our brothers of the French Cameroon. And then the others went to Nigeria. But what are we doing today? And those of us who are not for armed struggles, we think that that was the route that we're supposed to go. And many people who are capitulating today they are also coming to follow what we have been saying and the footsteps of our forebears, because we have gravitated from post-colonial to neo-colonial, or from colonial to neo-colonial, and we want to get to, total sovereignty. And total sovereignty, who defines total sovereignty? The white boys who are here, they don't listen to you when you come and spill your history and say mistakes were made. Those mistakes were not made without your participation. So this is why I still respect and anybody who attacks the memory of late Christian Cardinal to me is my opponent, because he said, let's come together as a people, post-colonial or not, traditional or not, and then forge a way forward. Come out with a credible leadership. When you look at those who call themselves leaders, who say they have movement groupings and have given themselves titles left, right, center, you understand exactly from which premise I am coming from. I have been with these people. I am somebody, a fervent advocate of federalism, and I contest Mr. Biya's regime. I will never accept that Frank Biya becomes the next president of Cameroon. I think that we should respect the will of our forebears, the alternation of power between Anglophones. We have had two Francophone presidents, and why not an Anglophone president? Just to respond to one of your followers who said that PADDY ASANGA is very wounded, can he calm down? I am only wounded with my mouth and my words. There are people who are cutting heads and putting it on sticks, and then we have the Ngabuma, several massacres, and I'm very angry about that, and that what makes me wounded. I am pulling people out of the bushes, and others are there threatening them, telling them that they are going to kill them. So I have to be wounded. I don't have any other thing than my brain, my mouth, my basket mouth, and the connections that I have to secure the lives of people. And that's what we do in a social democratic party, Mr. Leo. And I want to thank you for inviting my brother who has deviated and is talking about Frankist movement, but he has come to reveal to us that Frankist movement is CPD and BIS. That is his business, but our people have taken act of it, and then we are going to sanction him, and sanction him very well. Thank you for having me.
Okay, when you look at the political landscape today by Anglophone political elite, how would you compare them with the Fonchas, the Munas, the Joas, the Endelis, the Mbiles?
Yeah, well, it is really at times not needed, but then the two periods were different. The two eras were equally different. The schooling, the theorists, the population, the challenges, the environment was not the same. And many have said they had their times and they had it perfectly. People should know that Foncha, Ndele, Mbile all functioned under the Federation of Cameroon. And now if we're talking the new elite, we are talking of a united Cameroon, which many have said is indivisible. And you can imagine that within that time, they were not tortured, they were not in prison. I have not seen where Foncha was taken to prison because of his political ideologies. And that Southern Cameroonian existed as a state and a multi-party state inherited from the fallen system. And after the more were being associated with Nigeria. Pressure groups were so accepted as organizations by students, youths. In fact, the Cameroon Youth League resulted to what we call the CDC Workers Union, were all political giants at the time, which respect the Federation of Cameroon, and more again, they had a leadership that was based on political party ideologies. That is why you could see there was that great tussle between Foncha and Ndele, even before independence. But today, you will imagine that the economy towards independence, Southern Cameroon has its own bank to manage its own activities, with the headquarters in Boya. I mean, a lot of that. There was no intimidation from anybody, and nobody was clustered or chained that he must support a political idea. But you imagine now, we came under a unity system, we abandoned first the multi-party system, then later it was opened out in 1990, it changed the whole mechanism. Today, elites, in fact, again, what people said, unity, which we just said here this evening, was the modus operandi of the old elites. And we have not seen assassinations of those elites like we have found today. We have not seen political antagonism that we are finding today. Even within the CPDM, the elites are not still united within the same CPDM. So these are some of the issues that happened in the past that even gave us where we were. But somewhere, when people said they were not as enlightened as we are today, they wouldn't have accepted the April 14 Congress in Yaoundé to the defiance of Article 47 of the Constitution, which stated that the two parliaments were supposed to sit independently and discuss to change the state of the nation. But instead, they were taken to Yaoundé, and it was obvious that they became the minority. And so the 1972 Constitution was voted outrightly, which is now celebrated. You hosted here as the National Day, and many still ask, is that really the National Day for Cameroon, or it was just a political victory? Those of us who have gone, had an access to have documents, it was simply a celebration of political victory of an agenda that was accepted from Fumban, which they know that there will never be a federation. With the French, like Paddy said, that accompanied the French La République to Fumban, the British had left Cameroon immediately after the plebiscite. And so we were left alone, and a lot of that happened. Politically, Cameroon was going to become the United Republic of Cameroon and came back to the Republic of Cameroon. We accept. One of the things of political honesty is to accept that we have moved forward. If we have moved forward, we work on the errors of the past to cement more the future. The today political elite in Cameroon, there is a fight between Northwest and Southwest. So bitterly that some people thought that if Chief Don Jota is leaving, it is a Northwestern that must be Prime Minister. So we are not working again on political meritocracy. We are working now on political mediocrity. He who talks better, he who has a support should be Prime Minister. This is the present generation. Otherwise, Ndele was the most educated elite, but he was not the Prime Minister at the time. These are the differences. Where those who think they have the education must be leaders. I have told many, as you see me, I don't aim for power. I will be more at ease if my opinion, if it is lighting enough, people consider. If this is the idea all of us were having, let the people make their choice. So within the Cameroon elite that we have today, what have you seen? The Anglophone problem. There was Southern Cameroon. SCNC existed with a government, and they were living and eating in Cameroon. They have homes. Government knew that these are their leaders. I knew them. They existed well with their homes.
Ayaba was
Ayaba died, and it was a whole state protocol to get him buried. They knew where they were. They even have military control in their compounds. But nothing has ever happened like this man from Bamenda could accuse Payama that he's not the leader. There was SCNC in Basso, Womb, and everywhere. But Payama remains the chief leader that the government was aware. But what is this today with the present elitism in Southern Cameroon? That if you are not with me, you are a black leg. If you are not with me, you are an opposition. If you are not with me, you are dining with the other. This is what we are saying.
Okay.
Can we sincerely believe that in moving a nation, there is a need for a consensus? There is a need to throw back our personal wishes and work for a common good. If you want the nation to succeed, including the President of the Republic. If at the end of the day, we are talking of high cost of living, I am happy I made a system I left few months, few years after, that 11 cups of gari were 100, and that 6 cups of rice were 200. Where have we gone wrong? That with technology, education, green revolution, we are still unable to eat. That a 10,000 francs cannot feed a home in a day. When I knew my father paid 500 for me to be in primary school. So when was education free? When the head of state declared that primary school education will be free, it is when we pay more school fees to maintain teachers in primary school to teach them. The PTA become even more, triple us 5 times than it was in the past. Where have we gone wrong? These are political honesty systems where you believe that you have failed. And like I say in the UK, once you have failed, what do? You simply step down. People need not die on the streets. Like you see in Egypt, people were surprised that we could not shoot at a civilian. Mubarak making over 30 years in power, the Egyptians say it was enough. We cannot eat again. That is not where we are coming from. So there is honesty, individualism, and even, I don't know, if we have to put them together, there is a need for political tolerance. People have not known. We might differ in ideas in politics, but we remain brothers and sisters, and we need to take the nation forward. That is what combines or joins us together. The nation moving forward My children, I don't know who will take care. But if we work well, the nation becoming tolerant and working for the interest of all, can we go ahead? Surprisingly, we are still rated one of the most corrupt countries on earth. That's where billions have been wasted.
OBOSSO, I'm sure you studied our history and know very well what our political elites in the past did compared with what is happening today. You are a politician. Would you say you're proud of what you guys are doing today, and that maybe you are performing better than what the Fonchas did, or the Panelists did better than what you guys are doing today?
Well, as Dr. Ako rightly said, we are looking at two different eras. Yeah, two different times with different objectives. I'm going to do my comparative analysis on three major factors. The first one is on the political maturity and dynamism. That is what we lack today. Dr. Ako mentioned of a general consensus, the political class coming together and take a permanent interest, keep aside egoistic tendencies. That is what is lacking in today's contemporary politics. When we look at our forefathers, I saw how Ndeli could come together with Foncha and Solomon Tamnjong to achieve a permanent interest. In fact, they made us to understand that politics, there's no permanent friend, there's no permanent enemy, but permanent interest. In 1953, when Ndeli advocated for an autonomous Southern Cameroon, he merged, they wanted to secede from the NCNC. The NCNC, the National Council of Nigeria and the Cameroons. He met Foncha and Estimuna, and they formed the KNC, the Cameroon National Congress. That was in 1953. Now, in 1954, when British Cameroon became a federal territory with its own House of Assembly and Executive Council, Ndeli had a different opinion. He opted for a greater integration with Nigeria. After he has merged with his brothers to secede from the NCNC and form the KNC to achieve an autonomous Southern Cameroon, he changed his mind and said, no, I'm going for a better integration with Nigeria. And his brothers Foncha and Solomon Tamnjong told him no. And that is how Foncha and Solomon Tamnjong, they left the KNC and went and formed the KNDP. That was in the 1960s when they were preparing for the plebiscite. And in 1961 we had the plebiscite where the KNC came out victorious. It was being led by Foncha. We saw how Ndeli could meet KPP.
KNDP led by Foncha.
KNDP led by Foncha. KNC led by Ndeli. Yeah. KPP led by NN Mbile. We saw how Ndeli of KNC could meet KPP of NN Mbile so that they should form a greater front, to join Nigeria. Okay, now when the plebiscite took place, was about to happen, what happened? What happened? That cannot happen today. Ndeli abandoned his party, the KNC. Mbile abandoned his party, the KPP, and they fused and formed the CPNC, Cameroon's People National Convention, to stand as a major opposition party against the KNDP of Foncha. You see that Honorable Namaso Mbile was very politically mature to accept to go under Ndeli, because Ndeli was the president of the CPNC, to affront Foncha, who was leading the KNDP. And they went to the plebiscite, of course. Of course, the KNC came out victorious, and I want to congratulate
the KNDP.
The KNDP came out victorious. I want to congratulate my forefather, Jongo Foncha, for that brilliant elections, because the decision he led us to join the French Cameroon was, is, and still remain the best decision ever. So that was on the political maturity and dynamism. We saw how when there is an interest, they could come together, okay, to achieve that interest, irrespective of their political parties. And when the interests were no longer there, they had no issue to go separate ways. But they could still come back if need be. So they demonstrated a lot of political maturity. Another aspect of the comparison is that they were pro-independent activists. They were not in for power conquest. The politicians that we have today, they have different objectives. I mean, those leading political parties, they have different objectives. Their objective is to take power in Yaoundé and lead the country as the president of the republic. Our forefathers didn't have that kind of objective. Their objective was to achieve the independence of Southern Cameroon, either by joining Nigeria or by joining the French Cameroon. So the objectives were different, and so the approach were different. So that is why you could easily see late Honorable Mbile forget about the KPP to merge his party and work with Ndeli, even though Ndeli is going to lead, because they were looking more of achieving the independence of Southern Cameroon. You get it? Then another aspect is the competitiveness. You know, we have a more complex, a more diverse, a larger scope of political manifestation that our forefathers didn't have. So the politician present day have a greater challenge compared to our forefathers, because their politics was, majority of it was limited within Southern Cameroons. You get it? But the present politicians go beyond Northwest and Southwest, other 8 regions who have a different culture. So the dynamics play a lot. Okay. You need to be bilingual.
Okay, the dynamics have changed, and the challenges are also very complex, and times also have changed. We are rather sorry that we cannot fully exploit the second topic because of time constraints. I want to say thank you to you, PADDY ASANGA, for coming today.
Yes, Mr. Leo, thank you for bringing my brother, Prince Obosso. Thank you for having my friend, Ako John Ako. And I hope to meet you all in July. I have constraints. If not, I would have loved to be living in my home country in Cameroon. And why not Abakwa? But, you know, my major prime is my baby. And if there is any topic that we think that I can contribute in one way or the other, please don't hesitate. I will always squeeze time from collecting colonial debts to come and have a conversation, to come and debate with my brothers and sisters, because I think that the solution to what we are going through is based at the home front, and we have to be convivial in what we are doing. And as Obosso just said, I agree with him on that. Our forebears had more political maturity than most of us who are sitting here in the diaspora, and I think power to the people and power to the people on the ground. And if they want to exclude us from the diaspora, who have been so divisive, then I will raise my hands and say, yes, I concur, because we are out to protect life and not to take people's life or castigate people who take decisions that will protect their lives. You know, I am part of that follow-up commission. I am part of, I was in the Determined Commission, and I would not relent my effort to be removing boys from the bushes and making sure that all of those who are remorseful, who have problems with the Mr. Biya's government, if I tell you today that I don't talk to people within the government and put up arguments so that our brothers and sisters in the diaspora can come home. I am a liar. I am an impostor. I do that, and it is, I'm not mandated by anybody, just like nobody mandated someone to pick up arms and start calling me an Ambazonian and taking hostage of my father's grave. It's of fun. I am not a Christian. I don't believe in monotheism. I believe in heterotheism, and I believe in diversity and our unity in diversity. Thank you, Leo, for having me. And it was a great debate. And I want to salute all the panelists. Thank you very much.
Good evening to you, Ngala Evelyn Bongbimi, our super fan who is always watching all the programs on My Media Prime TV, and also to you, Daisy, watching us from Kumba, Lista Montana, watching from Yaoundé. Good evening to you. Thank you for coming, Doctor.
Yeah. In fact, Mr. Leo, there is honesty we need to exercise here.
Okay.
I believe this country needs a rejuvenation.
Okay.
And anybody that still believes in the old system is failing the future Cameroon. There is a need to impact and create a new Cameroon, maybe after all the roots of the present system have been unraveled. And one of those people is calling for mental revolution and a change of leadership. We have buried more than 4 decades, 7 generations to a single-handed group of persons. They were mates, they were friends. We need new friends and new mates to make up a new Cameroon. The democracy in Cameroon we enjoy today is the one which is selective. We need a general practice of the character of democracy. Every Cameroonian should be given equal time, equal privileges. Cameroon should be a state of meritocracy and not mediocrity. We don't need to sing praises to be appointed by the President of the Republic to exercise an obligation on behalf of a nation. Cameroon is a great nation. It is a blessed nation. I still believe that there is more in the horizon. If desert lands can become forest, why is a forest land crying and whining, littering in hunger? Cameroon is blessed. We should uphold it and make it a more great nation.
We also are grateful to you, Prince EPUPU, for coming.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Leo. I want to say I'm honored to be with my big brother Abaka Boy for the first time in the panel. Dr. Ako, the veteran, once more again. So it was really a good experience. But what I have to say, I am addressing the youth. The President of the Republic, His Excellency President Paul Biya, on the 10th of February 2021 said generational transition is now. On the 10th of February 2023, he said, you people are intelligent youths, you people are skillful youths, organize yourselves. I want to call, I'm placing a clarion call to all the Cameroonian youths. Let us take our destiny into our own very hands. The Frankist movement is a youth movement that is championing a youth to take over the office of the president and at all levels of the country. Come in massively and let's take over this huge challenge and we shall overcome.
Thank you, Prince, for coming. We want to thank you all for watching this first edition of Prime Hour for this week. We also say we are grateful to the production team. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.